All right. I forgot to mention this in the uplifting Uber chat that I just did, and like the wind is like really blowing out here. Um, okay, this happened last, when was it? It was like last Friday or Saturday night, and I worked a little bit later. I mean, my cutoff is midnight, and um, I had my first what is considered mid-trip cancel. And one of the rideshare channels that I watch, I had already um, learned about this and knew probably sooner or later this is going to happen to me. Well, lo and behold, it happened to me by a drunk guy. And this guy, he didn't act out of line. He wasn't hitting on me or anything. I mean, a couple of times, he reached over and, touched my shoulder. I mean, he was like a sap, telling me his sob story, problems, between him and his father, and looked to me as his therapist. Okay. And I get that from time to time. You other drivers out there, you know what I'm talking about when it seems like, they want to tell you their life story. They want to tell you their woes, and they expect you to give them free counseling. Okay, well, you know, I look at this as opportunities to, however God wants to use me, he'll just use me. And so um, he wanted to, he was deciding, okay, do I want to go home, or do I want to just go to some more bars. And I tried to stay out of that, honestly. um and so I told him, well, what he needs to do is he needs to go into the app and he needs to change the destination. And I mean, I did have the right passenger, because only at least as far as I know, only the real passenger could cancel on you mid-trip. Um, but he did go in and he changed the destination to like a suburb in Sacramento, to like the bar strip, where there's a whole bunch of bars. And so then he started, talking to me about, his family and his parents and all of this. And I mean, I suppose it was a little uncomfortable. I'm just like, because I could see how much longer the ride duration is, and I'm like, well, just just listen, offer advice if he asks for, what would you do type, but I'm like, okay, it's only 10 more minutes or whatever, then I can drop him off. Well, this particular ride, I didn't have K-Love on. I had just a country, I think I had a country music station playing. And in all, it ended up being about a 20-minute trip. And I didn't bring up God or anything, but I did, in how I was talking to him. I mean, I'm thinking in my mind, honestly, that there really wasn't anything in what I was saying that would just outright tell him that I believe in God or that I'm a Christian. But I suppose just some of the things that I said and maybe how I said it, you would equate that to somebody who did believe in God, if that makes sense. I think if I remember correctly, he asked me, like, well, what advice would you give to somebody my age, and he told me he was 30, So, I mean, that's the age of my oldest son. And, he asked, and so I honestly told him, well, always respect your parents. Don't dishonor your parents. I think I told him, that I had lost both of my parents, and and this is something that you would think would be okay in the eyes of the world. I mean, yeah, I realize that more and more we see all these things of parents or children not respecting their parents, but so I told him that, and then he went into telling me the story of his dad, and how would I deal with that. And I told him honestly, that he can't go back and undo, his dad can't go back and undo the mistakes that he's made in his past. I said something like, forgive him, and just have here and now, work on your relationship from here forward, just general things that I honestly thought would be helpful. Well, then we were a few blocks from the destination, and then kind of just out of the blue, he says, so do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I absolutely do. And then I believe I said I'm a Christian. And I think before I even said yes, I'm a Christian, well, but you know what? In the app for Uber, because this was an Uber ride, in my profile, I can say some things about myself, and I say, that I'm a singer songwriter, that I'm a Christian, and that I have my own little bath and body shop, and I give my website. Now, when he was changing the destination and whatnot, and I didn't think about that until just now, he very possibly saw that and read that, because I've had other people that actually take the time to read about their driver. They'll ask me about, my music, or, I see that you're a Christian, or they'll say, I see that you're from Colorado, and we talk about that sort of thing. So he may have saw that, but, there was, other than that, there was nothing that I was like going above and beyond that just like screams, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian. I wasn't like cramming Jesus down his throat or anything like that. I was just being who I always am. And so he's like, do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I am. And he's like, oh, so you're a God-fearing woman? And I said, yes, I'm a Christian. And he then told me, that, he's not. He basically believes when you die, that's it. There's nothing else. And, I wasn't going to argue with him. But I did feel at that point, because, the ride's almost over, he's like point blank asking me, do you believe in God? I did tell him, get yourself a King James Bible, King James Version Bible, and start reading it. Okay. I mean, I didn't tell him, to get a King James Bible to be rude or anything, it just, that's what I felt I was supposed to say, and so then as we pull up to the place where I'm, the final destination, I see this thing, and it makes this sound. And this has happened before, like when I'm on the way to pick somebody up and the rider cancels, it'll be like dong dong, and it'll say rider's canceled. Okay, well, I've never had it happen when I've actually had the passenger in the car. And so just right as I'm pulling up to where he's supposed to get off, it's like dong dong dong, the rider has canceled. And it I knew what he did. I was like, okay, this man just scammed me. because that's what it equated to. He scammed me. And but you know, I was there and I said, okay, here you go. And you know, he got out of my car. I didn't have a problem with him getting out of my car. You know, he was nice. He said goodbye. I said goodbye. I was hopping mad. I was so mad. So it's like I logged off and I went around the corner and I found a parking place, and you know, I went to the ride, and I got the receipt number, and I'm emailing Uber right away. And I tell them, you know, this passenger just scammed me, that I had to listen to 20 minutes of his life sob story, you know, with his father, and you know, everything that happened, and I want to get paid for this ride. And they replied back right away. And I think I had to send like another email, because at first they said, you know, when a rider cancels like that, you will at least get the cancellation fee, which is like $5 or something. And I was like, well, this is worth a lot more than $5, because I mean, I got him to the destination, and before I could like end the ride on my end, he just canceled on me. And I was like, well, I better get paid a lot more than $5, you know. And so, you know, I went through the steps again, and so I ended up getting like 5 something for that ride. And I mean, I was a little disappointed, but you know, it's a lesson learned. I mean, this is things that can happen to you if your driver's out there. And I knew sooner or later it was bound to happen to me. And yep, it did. And I wondered afterwards, you know, if he had not said anything about, you know, do you believe in God? Would he still have canceled on me? And so, you know, yeah, I was honestly wondering, okay, did he deliberately cancel on me when he found out I was a Christian? Well, I mean, I guess God knows the intent of that man's heart. But I was just thinking, you know, what a scumbag. I mean, this man was 30 years old. Definitely old enough to know better. I mean, anybody over 18 shouldn't be doing that anyways. But in some cases, you know, you kind of give allowances because you think, you know, they're still kids. Not at 30. I'm sorry, not at 30. And so that was one thing that I wanted to share. And if you're a passenger, don't do that to your driver, because there'll be a receipt of that. And my hope is, if people do that, Lyft or Uber will boot them off. They'll cancel their accounts. I mean, yeah, who's to say that they can't, you know, go in and create another account? But yeah, don't be doing that. And you know, just handle yourself professionally. I mean, if it's like midway through and you see that they cancel and you're like not even there to the destination, pull over. I would say pull over to a public place. You know, don't put yourself in danger, but do not remain any longer in the vehicle with them than at all possible. Get over to a safe place. You know, yeah, confront them and say, you just canceled this ride. You need to get out of my car. And luckily, I have not had to kick anybody out yet. Now, I suppose that being said, sooner or later, something's going to happen. I'm just, you know, I have to be prepared for these things where something's going to happen and I'm going to have to kick somebody out of my car. Don't really like thinking about that, but I mean, that's the reality. So, yeah, just wanted to share what happened with that. It's unfortunate that passengers will try to scam Lyft or Uber and the drivers by doing that. It's unfortunate, but yeah, just if it happens to you, get them out of your car as fast and as safely as possible. Um, and I don't think there was anything else that I can think of that happened to me. Um, yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and enter there. All right, you guys, be safe.